Well, this is a very sad day for the airport. About 1:40 this afternoon, a pilot with 3 passengers was taking off on one of our training runway. Reportedly, and I did talk to the tower, he reached about 100 feet, requested permission to turn around and land, and then didn't make it, crashed in the field beyond the runway. So and I have to say first, okay, our prayers and best wishes and sympathies are with the family. This is a very, very sad moment. We've had a long time since we had our last crash here.
How much experience did this pilot have? What could you tell us about it?
I cannot tell you much about the pilot. We're finding out this information as we go. I know the airplane. It was a Cessna 172, which is a single-engine 4-seater. The experience of the pilot, I can't answer that now. And if I did know the name, I wouldn't be able to tell you, subject to notification, the next of kin.
But you did say this was a training flight?
I don't know that. No, this was it was a private flight. I know that. It was not a commercial flight.
How many people on board? How many people passed?
There were 4 people, including the pilot, and 3 of them died immediately, and the 4th was rushed to a local hospital and has died subsequently.
We're hearing there was a fire.
Yes. The airplane burned on impact.
Do you know how they died?
No, I do not. That of course will be up to the medical examiner, and the NTSB, the National Transportation Board, has been notified. They'll be here tomorrow. The FAA is en route right now. The airport at this time is closed, but as soon as the FAA gets here, we will open up one of the runways, and the airport will reopen, but the runway they're using will remain closed.
I know there will definitely be an investigation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us anything preliminarily in terms of what you saw, what you think could have happened here, could have gone wrong?
I did not see it, and I'm certainly not in a position to speculate. I'm sorry.
Can you tell us what age ranges are we looking at with the victims?
I cannot. No, I know nothing about the identities. There were three males and a female. I did learn that.
Are they local?
I don't know.
And you said this was a private flight. I mean, was this a family traveling?
I don't know. I don't know the identity of the victims, but I know it wasn't a commercial flight.
Okay, and you said 3 males and a female?
Yes, and I believe one of the males was a pilot.
Well, what about the ownership of the plane?
The airplane burned. We're trying to determine the ownership now.
So you don't know if it was based here or
that's
if
correct.
It landed earlier and
we will find that out. We'll know by tomorrow morning, certainly.
Do you guys have any?
Where it was going?
No. That would indicate that they didn't file a flight plan, but I don't know that. They could very well have filed a flight plan.
Now, if it was a training flight, would
I don't know.
File
a flight plan is generally filed when there's bad weather. That's and then they fly by instruments. But I can't answer that question. I don't know.
And again, they were landing, you said?
Well, they were taking off.
Okay.
Reached about 100 feet. Requested permission to land. We're in the process of turning around, as it was reported to me, and then crashed as they were maneuvering to land.
Would you guys have security cameras that maybe captured what was happening, and then that could be used to determine?
No. The FAA, the air traffic controller, would have witnessed it, and so that'll be about as close as we can get. Our crew, the Waterford Township Fire Department, and Jim Lehman is here, and they responded, as did our crew. Our crew were there, arrived on the scene in about 30 seconds from the moment of the crash. And so they did all they could, and then we were followed up with Waterford Township, who coordinated the transport to the local hospital.
You said it's been a long time since you've had a tragedy like this?
Yes.
When was the last one?
2006, and subsequent to that, there's been about over 1,100,000 operations. So this is very infrequent.
What happened in 06?
There was a fatality on the airport.
A crash?
Yes.
So this appears like it would be something to do with the actual aircraft, because the weather's nice today, or maybe even just pilot error.
I would not be in a position to speculate on that. That'll be up to the National Transportation
But when he requested to turn around and land, did he indicate that there was any problem with the aircraft?
I didn't hear the transmission. I know he requested permission to land, so that'll all come out. Unfortunately, it'll be about 6 months before the NTSB is able to make a final determination.
So where are the victims now? Have they been removed? Or are they at the medical examiner's office?
Well, the medical examiner will have to make the identities and determine the cause of death, but I don't think that's happened yet.
You don't know if these people are local or not.
I do not know. I'm sorry.
But I'm assuming you have been able to find some information. You are attempting to reach their families, their next of kin, correct?
Yes, and you understand, we're not going to release, when we do find out, we're not going to release that until subject to notification of next of kin.
Can you talk a little bit about this airport? I know it's very popular for corporations and private planes. What can you tell us about the airport?
Well, it's the second busiest airport in the state of Michigan to Detroit Metro. That's in terms of takeoffs and landings. And yes, you're correct. The business and corporations, and particularly anymore, a lot of foreign companies do have a large presence here. And we also accommodate private flying as well. I suspect this was a private flying, as I mentioned before, private flight. But it's a successful, safe airport. And so that's all I can say at this point.
Can you talk a little bit about the fact that they're on this training runway? What is that? Does that tell you anything? Does that give you any indication that just...
Well, I mentioned we're the second busiest airport in the state of Michigan. That means obviously we have a lot of traffic. So we have parallel runways, so to accommodate additional traffic. And the main runway is long enough to carry heavy jet aircraft. The short runway is for training flights and smaller airplanes. This was a smaller aircraft, so they're using the shorter runway. I refer to it as the training runway, but all it is a shorter runway.
So it wouldn't indicate anything about them with their flying?
No. It has to do, it's a function of the size of the airplane.
How long is this runway?
The main runway is 60, let's see, we expanded it recently, about 6,500 feet. This is about 5,000 feet, short of a mile.
And it didn't get very far?
But it's a very long runway for the kind of airplane that was using it. Yes, it reached an altitude of about 100 feet, and the crash was beyond the end of the runway, but still on the airport.
Was there any distress call made?
Well, he requested just permission to turn around and land, so that would indicate something was wrong.
And you said it was about just 100 feet or so off
Yes,
the ground?
yeah. That's what was reported to me by the FAA tower.
Thank you.
Why would somebody request to return? You're saying it indicates that something is wrong.
That would be my first suspicion, of course. You don't request permission to return unless if everything's going well. So.
When might we learn names?
Tomorrow.
Can't say. They have to be identified by the medical examiner officially, and also families have to be notified. And
Can I get you to come up a little bit?
medical examiner will have to officially identify the victims, and the families will have to be notified. So we can't say when that will happen and when we'll be able to release any victim information.
This is the only news conference we'll have today. Bill will be available on the cell phone for any updates later on.